else may agree with it. Someone else might understand, like you do, about the point we just talked about, a different perspective. See, it's one thing to think it, but it's another entirely to hear someone else echo the same sentiment. So that's where I'm talking about, and that's where the change
Well,
starts from.
the
So
the the moral of the story is we sit here and preach, and it's not just us on the panel. It's everybody I talk to that's in the industry. We
yeah,
talk about brotherhood. Okay, how
yeah,
do we bring back brotherhood? Helping each other out. It shouldn't matter your language. It shouldn't matter your
yeah.
you know what, your race. It shouldn't
Right,
matter. If we want to make the industry better, we need to start working together.
right.
That's
Sean, we
the
got a
pretty
comment
much
on
the
screen. Did you want
moral of
to
the
address
story.
that? And
Yes.
I've got
So
somebody.
that's what they're saying, but we actually pulled what Sam Graves is saying, right? So when he was in front of Congress, this is what he pulled out, that it was going to be the numbers where he came off of. So I mean,
Someone
you
named
know,
Everett is trying to join
maybe
our
he messed
panel.
up, maybe he didn't, but I can tell you that's what he said in
Yeah.
on national TV when he was talking in front of Congress. So
Well,
that's where we came up with the number.
if you go back a few lives, Bossman has a clip of exactly what he said. Just saying.
In regards to what?
The poundage, right? That's what we're talking about. I guess I can't read that comment.
Yeah, that's what he's hitting
Oh,
on, is the 11
Yeah.
point what do you
Yeah.
say, 11.6, oh, eleven point
I
two
don't know.
billion
I
annually.
don't know what the commenter is referring to, but I do know what you and I talked about in our meeting tonight. So that 17 number was accurate to that, but I don't know what this man's referring to specifically. What you're talking about, Thumper, was just the tonnage overall that was being discussed on an annual basis.
Yeah, that's
That
what
was
Jonathan's
something
saying.
completely different. Yeah, that was something
That's what
completely
he's talking
Yeah.
about in the comments, is the
okay.
last time I looked, it was 11.2 billion tons annually by truck, and that fluctuates a little bit, right?
It could.
So
Yeah, you're right. It
and
could.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like I'm predicting that you're going to see those numbers come way down, because that some of the stuff in the freight that's coming up, to the end of it, yeah, right
Right.
now, yeah, and if you look, uh, what's happening in America, right? So right now, airports, right? If I was in a flatbed division, I'm looking
I'll
for,
get
or a
that
step deck.
comment here in a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna look in for what airport to where I could run my trucks and make money on. Right, I look for data
Mhm.
centers that are being built. I'm gonna point my trucks towards them data centers. So you got to stay ahead of the game and see what actually is being moved. And next year, what are we gonna have? If data centers start coming up, wrapping them up. If we have a lot of our produce not coming all the way across country, it's going to start coming into individuals. So I mean,
Yeah.
these are the things that's going to create that number to drop dramatically, or it's going to make a spike. I look at
And the
Pensacola.
other unknown is what they're trying to do with automation too. So that's another unknown.
Absolutely, and in Pensacola, right? I haven't seen it yet, but Pensacola is supposed to be getting a shipyard where we're going to build our own ships here in the United States. But have you seen it move? I haven't. And how much is that going to influx the trucking market? So I always try to see what's coming down the pipeline to see what, if his numbers are actually matching, because those are estimated numbers. So,
Yeah,
uh,
they are.
but and what I'm seeing is a lot of stuff's coming dry. So is that going to be
Yeah.
11.6, 11.2 billion tons anymore, or is it going to be on the
Yeah.
lower side?
Yeah. Let me address one thing. This comment down below. I want to make something very clear, okay, and that's you know I don't condone any malice of thought. When you're driving a truck, you are totally and 100% responsible for yourself as well as the lives around you, because you commit yourself to doing a professional job in a professional way. And you can sit here in the comments and you can tell me all day long, legally speaking, we can't say first degree unless it's premeditated. Well, I'll tell you what, when you think it through and when you think it carefully, if you wish to get into a truck every day and make thousands of dollars every week and literally hundreds of thousands every year on the backs of a company that don't care about you and don't care about the company or of people around your truck and the customers that you service every day, and you do it with the malice and forethought that you don't care who you train, how well you train, the people that operate the equipment that represents you, then as far as I'm concerned, you're premeditating the murder that hasn't happened yet. So I fully understand where you're coming from in the comment you're giving me, but don't cloud the issue, okay? Because if you want to stand behind the idea that it's less or more of something, understand what you're doing before you commit to doing the job to begin with. I've been standing on a platform of we need better training and we need well-trained and well-qualified individuals, not people run through CDL mills and just handed a set of keys because you call yourself a quasi truck driver. No, that's how people die. And that's how people's lives get turned around in 2 seconds flat on the Florida Turnpike because you can't read a sign. And that's where I'm going to leave. I'm going to move on to one other thing.
Hold
Because
on. I wanna add something to what you said, and this is a real
did
life
too.
experience that I went through.
quickly.
So about 3 years ago, I was in a really bad wreck, and what it was training and quick thinking on my part. I come up over a hill on Christmas Eve. It was foggier than heck out. Should have I been out? No, but livestock, you run. Well, I come up over the hill. I pushed my brakes and I started sliding. And before I knew it, all I saw was red lights flashing. What it was is there was an accident in front of me of a family, and there was a fire truck sitting right in the middle of the road. Those are the lights I thought I saw. I tapped brakes again, started sliding, and a quick decision and the training and everything else has been drilled into my head. I took the truck into the ditch. Boss man, you have seen those pictures. How I walked away from that wreck is beyond me. But that's training right there.
So got a guest I want to introduce. So
that's training right there. That's the difference between life and death when it comes to stuff like that. Is you got to be quick on your feet. I just want to add that.
Yep. Thank you for doing that. I get somebody new. I've not seen the name, so keep the profanity down and welcome to the show. Let's hear what you think. Introduce yourself, new guy on the panel. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
Hey, what's up? Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Welcome to the show, my friend.
All right, good. Hey, brother, what's up? This is Psalm Miracle. This is the guy who I couldn't really fully explain myself because I was in the comments. So I finally was like, you know what, let me get on here so I can actually explain it.
I like it. Welcome to the show then.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Now,
certainly,
the way I'm coming about it from the perspective I'm saying is now to this day, I don't really help them because I look like it like this. It's almost like enabling an alcoholic.
Hey, there you go.
It literally is. If I'm sitting there giving an alcoholic drinks, knowing damn well they're gonna still get behind the wheel of a car, they have a potential chance of killing somebody. Well,
they do.
Me being a trucker, an actual professional trucker, an actual trained trucker, if I'm sitting there enabling these non-speaking people, foreigners, etc., then I'm enabling them to continue to do their job until they do take that 80,000-pound vehicle, not knowing how to fully operate it, so on and so forth, and kill somebody.
So hearing what you're saying, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Hearing what you're saying, are you telling me that my act of kindness was wrong, or
no?
No.
I'm saying that your act of kindness was actually cool because I used to be the same way. I used to like.
I just wanted to be sure because I didn't know how you were describing that. So
I don't think you saw the other comment that I said. I said I have no problem helping my American brothers at all. Whatsoever.
No.
So yeah,
I didn't see that. All the comments were accounted for, so that must not have come up. But
Yeah, so if it was like, I mean, I've done it multiple times, and I still do it to this day. Like if I see a new driver out here, and he can barely back up, and he's having a problem, this and this and that, I don't give a damn. I'll sit there for an hour, and I'll help him back that truck up. I don't care. But
Certainly.
when it comes to these people who I know are non-domiciles, and they're possibly a high chance of possibly being, not fully certified in our industry, and they're just out here messing up our rates, etc. I'm not going to do that anymore, and I haven't been doing that anymore because.
So who do you blame? Who do you blame?
You know what? I don't. My. Here's my thing. I've always been taught not to point fingers. If you point fingers, you may as well point one at yourself, because there's obviously something that you're not doing enough of to allow it to have gotten to the point where it's at. That's how I look at things. So we're all a bit to blame on it, because either we weren't fighting against it hard enough when it started, or we're not fighting against it hard enough now that it has started, or now that it has become where it is.
So,
Semi, you want to add? You want
Go
to explain? Yeah, Semi, go ahead and explain the comment on screen. Go ahead, please. You're muted, buddy. You're muted.
Sorry. That's another thing that really reinforces that, if we work as drivers, if we work for a company, say anything Swift, Knight, even Super Eagle or Hurricane, like we as drivers have a due diligence to represent our company as well as ourselves in a professional manner.
Correct.
But with that being said, the companies that we work for, they have a responsibility to represent themselves on their best behalf as well as the driver's behalf, and they have to represent themselves in the best possible way.
Right.
And I think that also comes into showing where driver training comes into a big effect, because say if you're a carrier and you got a driver who doesn't know how to check his own damn oil, what does that say about you as a carrier?
Well, yeah. In my perspective, if I was the carrier, if I knew my driver wasn't trained from A to Z, I wouldn't put him out there by himself anyway.
That's why I keep saying, that drivers.
No way in hell. So I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You can be the most. Look, I was trained very, very well. But once I got out there into the real world,
right,
the only thing I needed help with, I didn't need help with my oil. I didn't need help with my pre-trips. I didn't need help with nothing. The only thing I needed help with, what every once in a while was, can you help? Can you spot me? And can you help me back up? That was about it.
So
everybody starts from somewhere. So go ahead, Sean. I know you want to add to that.
So Sean, in that perspective, I would say you blame the courier. But if you have a courier who's operating illegally and doesn't give a damn about nothing other than making money, which is most of these foreigners, you're not going to give a damn about having them trained.
Not gonna say just foreigners, right? I'm gonna say Warner. I'm gonna say Swift. I'm gonna say CR England. I'm gonna say Knight. Yeah, all these guys, right? They know everything. They are running their company like a spreadsheet. You're not even how many people actually, if you ever work there, they actually know you by name. They know you by truck number. They know you by a number, right? Then they go over to the spreadsheet and they say, okay, truck 725 needs an oil change. Because they have a sensor on that truck showing them when that truck needs to have an oil change. It shows them when you have a low air pressure tire on there. It shows you if the transmission needs to be retrained. We're ran like spreadsheets. And for the way you're saying, hey, I was trained this way. Well, yeah, we all were, right? The old school guys were before they had all these electronics. But now they have all these electronics into the truck. You need a warm body in that thing steering it down the road, knowing how to get it to point A to point B. And that's the sad part. We have allowed it, The old school truckers said, hey, you know what? We're giving up. When the ELDs came in, they said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to put up with the game. Every time something is thrown at an old school driver, that gives them an excuse to say, hey, I'm out of the business. I'm out of the industry. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And we talk to old school drivers all the time. And they say, hey, you know what? I wish I would have stood in there and put my foot down and made change, because now this is what we're dealing with.
Well, Sean, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a matter of the fact that the old school drivers are just walking away because they see this stuff that's becoming more innovative, or do you think it's just the fact that we don't have enough old school drivers to compete with billions of dollars worth of promotion and telling society how much more greater it's going to be if this truck has this safety feature and that safety feature and this safety feature, blah blah blah. I don't really, in my eyes, I don't think it's really on us, because we can't compete with the kind of money that they can utilize to shove in the media's face and to multi-millions of people and make them feel safer.
Well, I think it's a compound of both, right?
I mean, do you understand what I mean, though?
Well, old school drivers are leaving the industry because of regulations pushed down.
No. I'm not. We're not even at the regulations. I'm talking about.
No,
Tom,
I get there.
Tom,
And then
give him a second to answer.
All right, so if you take an old school guy, right, that knows how to shift his gears and everything else, and then you say, hey, you know what, we're going to put you in an automatic, now we're going to put you in these sensors. I don't want you to change the headlight, right? I don't want you to adjust your brakes out on the road, because we're going to do that as a carrier. How does a driver that has been in the industry, that knows all this information, is now supposed to be dumbsized by the technology that's in it? So, yeah, absolutely. I think the technology, and this goes for, even if they don't work for a mega company, if they try to buy a newer truck nowadays, because most of the old school drivers, they have enough money saved up to go put down $300,000 to buy one and drive it right off the lot. They don't want that technology. They said, hey, I want to be able to listen to the motor. I want to know when it's going to tell me what I need to do, because that's the driver. Nowadays, the technology is around us. You can't say, hey, I want to buy a truck with no technology in it. You're going to buy what they're going to sell you. So that's another reason why they're dropping out. So
the thing I'm trying to ask you, so let's say if all of us old school drivers had, okay, let's say they have $20 billion to promote their technology on the trucks, things of that nature, whatever. And old school truckers like us had $20 billion to promote, hey, fuck the technology, learn your truck. Always be fearful of your truck. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the accidents that are happening on the road with us truckers right now is because we have these younger people out here who, because I was always brought up to, I don't care how good you get at, at driving your truck. You always keep a fear of it.
Okay, one question. I see where you're going, Sam. I understand totally. My question is this: what happens to the business?
Which one?
The business. I mean, everybody in this conversation has forgotten one thing, and that's the business of running a truck. You're talking about being a driver for a mega carrier. Again, a mega carrier is running a business, and they're trying to service a customer. And you, as a driver, are trying to service your customer. Who's your customer? Your customer is the mega carrier you're working for. And then beyond that, you've got the owner-operators who are trying to work for the carriers they're trying to work for. Everything comes back to the business. And you've got to show profitability, and you've got to show the sensibility of knowing how to run the numbers sufficient and well enough to be able to get the business done tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, see, it got into this conversation, but I was more or less talking about why I don't deal with like the immigrants and the people who can't speak English. That's what I was talking about.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the reason I brought it up is because I don't think personally, this is just my opinion, and I may be wrong, and strike me dead if I am, but in my opinion, when somebody is attracted by influencers on TikTok and every other Instagram post and everything, when they're attracted to the trucking industry because of the money they can make, they're not told about the risks of running business poorly. They're not taught and they're not trained on the art of getting the next best deal, of what it's like to run for 89 cents per mile versus running for 69 cents per mile, of knowing what the cost per mile's advantage is today being what it's going to be in another 10 days when the cost of fuel goes up by 15 cents a gallon. You know, they're not taught the intricacies of what's necessary to survive. You know, it's one thing to be shown where to put the oil in the engine. It's another entirely to be shown how to maintain a maintenance schedule to make sure your engine doesn't blow up tomorrow. But if you don't know how to run a business successfully and know how to calculate what your cost per mile is to know whether you're losing money or making money, then frankly, you're just as good as the person who's handing you the keys and saying, good luck.
Yeah. And I think that's a little bit, on a different perspective of where we were, kind of,
Yeah, he just changed it all to a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different topic. Because to be honest, because if you to be honest, most of these people when we speak about foreign carriers, non-English speaker, you have to understand. Those most of them are they're not driving for the mega carriers, they're not driving for American carrier, they're owner operators. They're either a sale of an owner operator or they're an owner operator themselves. So they don't have
most of these guys are fly by night. They're working for a major guy, and they've got their own MC number, they've got their own DOT number. And honestly, they're not going to last 10 seconds. Honestly, that's why I went to that point. Look, I'd rather stop enabling these guys, teaching them what they should have already known before they jumped in the truck. Allow them to fail. I don't want them to go out there and kill nobody. But hey, you know what? I might help him. You might help him with his oil today. Perfect.
But he may not know how to do the rest of his pre-trip and still go out and kill somebody the next day. You know,
perfect segue for me to get into my last segment. Don't go anywhere. Do not leave. Stay right there. Let me tell you something. When it comes down to it, okay, throughout this debate over vetting, I've always maintained one thing, and you've heard me say it. If you've been watching my channel, one road, one code. This is a discussion that highlights exactly why I think we need that very philosophy, not only in trucking, but in transportation. If a CDL works nationwide, then the standard behind that license should be also nationwide. Now, government involvement is always going to be problematic. More bureaucracy usually means more paperwork, more delays, more opportunities for somebody to screw something up. But if there's ever a place where procedural improvement makes sense, this is one of them. We should be pushing for better training, better vetting, and uniform qualification standards, and one authoritative source on truth. That is, by all, every standard. I just, full stop. That's what it is. Because I don't want one standard in California and another one in Florida, and yet a separate one in New York, and everybody confused in the middle. Everything we talked about tonight basically highlights that. Not when every one of those drivers can end up beside me on the side of the road, causing me to worry about my family who might be behind me or in front of me. One road, one code, one standard we can all trust. We're talking about one national CDL standard, not different qualifications, but standards depending on one thing, and that's where the DMV is issued and where the start and the end. Everybody gets the same thing. Maybe we're working off a preset factor of fears. Maybe if every state used one system, would that system reduce fraud and reduce the mistakes and maybe take away from some of the things we're talking about tonight? Or could one bad federal system create more problems? What do you guys think? Let me know.
I think.
So first off, let me, if I could have the floor for a second.
Go
ahead, Sean, you first. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first off, it is one standard to get your license, right? You have to pass a parallel park, an offset. They've changed that now to where that's standard. So when we're talking about to get our CDL, that is a national wide. It's all same. Now,
But you've got 48, but you've got 40, well, 50, really, 50 different people or 50 different state provisions
all
that
the same.
say whether
That's all
you
the same now.
pass or not.
That's all the same. That is all the same. So anything with
Okay.
parallel parking, to get it, what we're missing is once you get your CDL, right? So when I trained, I trained from a permit and got their CDL, right? What the part
Right.
we're having the lack in is once you get your CDL and you get into that truck, that mentorship that we keep talking about or whatever, that's where the part's lacking. I think to get a CDL, that part's there. I mean, you got to follow what the state says to get your license. Does that mean you drive for 15 more hours with the CDL school? I don't think that's really where it's going to be at. You need that on the road training, and I think that's
Right.
that is where we're lacking at, because I think it should go once you get your CDL. Now you got to go out with somebody for 3 months or 2 months and have that physical behind the wheel with qualified trainers to train, because to get your CDL, anybody could do it. You know what I mean? You're just teaching them how to offset, parallel, and do a
Do you
straight line
think
back.
that's where? Do you think that was maybe where we should improve things? Because I mean, I have not known of anybody to offer training beyond just getting CL.
Perfect. That's why I think where we're lacking in our industry is once you get your CDL, that training, is where it's crucial at. That's where most people, it's like taking a baby and teaching it how to walk, right? I teach it how to, when it gets to crawl, I stand the kid up and then it starts taking its first couple steps, right? That's a CDL trainer, right? Now we need somebody to actually hold his hands around and walk it. And that's going to be the person that is going to be training and teaching you how to go up the mountains and how to do that. So if we were to try to do it in training at the school level, you would almost have to have a place where you have the perfect area. So you could only do in California or Oregon or Montana where there's actually mountains, Tennessee, but South Dakota's flat. I can't teach people how to go up a mountain. You know what I mean?
And then there's an avenue that Thumper has talked about quite a bit, and that's beyond that, mentorship. I mean, Thumper, add your 2 cents in.
That's where it's at. That's what's lacking.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, you do need that person. I'm going to ask this question here and then continue what I'm talking about with the mentorship. Bossman, how many years have you been driving truck?
15 years.
Sean, how many years have you been driving truck?
1 year underneath him. I'm 14 into it.
Well, Corey, how many years?
I got about 4 years in so far, licensed.
Okay.
Tom, we haven't met you. How many years have you been in?
24.
Hey,
there you go. He's the lowest now. 4 years.
Yeah.
So I've been in the industry for legally 15 years, and I grew up on a farm, so I've been driving truck for over 20 years. But the moral of the story is like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have many people that I can call personally, and if I have a question that I can call and ask, and they're there to guide me in the right direction. It could be 4 o'clock in the morning, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning, it could be 2 in the afternoon, whatever. If you have that somebody there that is willing to stick by your side, answer your phone call when you have a question, and guide you in the right direction, no matter how long you've been doing it, that's a mentor right there. Someone who's like, well, you went through your training, you should figure it out. And I am guilty, I will admit it. I am guilty for doing that, because there are some people out there that I have trained, that I've tried to be a mentor to, but they would call me every day with the same question. And after a year of telling them the same thing every day, you're just at the point where you just throw your hands up, be like, you know what, dude, figure it out yourself.
Maybe this isn't for you.
Well, and I've said that before, but the moral of the story is you need that person. It don't matter what you do in the industry: livestock, reefer, flatbed, hopper bottom, tanker.
Every business,
everyone.
Yep.
Specialty. You need someone in the industry that you can call, whether you have a question, or if you're really confused on doing something, where they could walk you through it over the phone, because they have the experience to do it.
Or at the very least, relate to any problems or issues you have. Let me.
And
Let,
see,
let me.
I
Let me.
totally. Can I get an wording on this? And I totally agree with all of the different types, but we gotta we also gotta look at the elephant in the room. It's not really any specialized um loads that are actually being involved in these accidents. These are just pretty much regular either reefer or just drive-in. These are literally people who are just being given the keys. She said, hey, this is how you turn the truck on. This is how you go straight in a straight line. This is how you're supposed to turn it. All right, go ahead, go out there and get on the road with everybody. You know, so I mean, because if it was fuel or something like that, it'd be a hell of a lot different. I've hauled all. Um,
Yeah.
but now, Sean, one thing I do like that you said that I didn't really think about at the time until you actually brought it up. When you asked me who we should actually be blaming for this, just right now, when you were making your statement and your point, just right now, I was like, you know what? I don't like to really point fingers at anybody. The only people, if there's anybody to be pointed fingers at, are the people who are actually issuing and allowing the clearances of these licenses,
The government.
which is the government, which is the government.
Yep.
Period. So you can't
and
blame the companies, you can't blame the trainers, you can't blame anybody.
You can't blame
This is
the
our
drivers.
own government.
How many
This
live
is our-
shows have you been in? How many live shows have you been in when I've said that the government was the major problem in this? I mean, I've said it.
I
And I know
haven't.
many other live shows have said it. So
I don't know if you. I don't know if you remember your first show, or the first time you ever saw me comment on your show. That was my very first time I ever seen your show, and I've been intrigued with you ever since. And I started following you
I
since.
appreciate the compliment, but I don't remember
I don't even
the
know how
show
you
you're
popped
talking
up.
about.
I don't
I
even know
don't
how you
remember the
popped
show
up.
you're talking about.
I told you it was the government's fault the whole time.
I would have to say the government.
Okay, yes, you could blame the government and everything else, and I'm sorry you guys are gonna jump me on this, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
Give me 3 seconds.
But
1 second.
it could be the government's fault that it's happening and everything else, but the real people to blame on is ourselves for letting it happen and not speaking about it sooner.
I'll go back to Bossman's. I'll go to Bossman's part of it. You're running a business, right? At the end of the day, what are you trying to make? Money. It doesn't matter if somebody told me that you blow on a spoon, if it fogs up, they're able to drive. You know what I mean? You need a human being in there. When you look at the accountability,
way of putting that.
when you look at a truck, right, and you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm losing insurance money that I'm paying for it to sit. I'm losing maintenance costs when it sits. I'm losing money when it sits because I'm used to making this much income. So when you have 4 or 5 trucks, 6 trucks, 7 trucks, I always like to say at that 5 mark, it's real easy to play with. But if one truck goes down, I have another truck to recuperate to make that money. Am I really looking for a driver that says, hey, it can run it? Not at the moment, dude. I'm thinking, hey, I'm gonna throw a guy in the seat. He's gonna run his butt off, and then maybe I'll fire him down the road. And once I get the money to build this other motor, you know what I mean, to get it back on the road, so then I can put somebody else in it. There's a lot of things that people don't look as a business, because a business has to be profitable.
Hey, but
Profitable
Sean,
is where it's at.
But Sean, here's the thing. But at the end of the day, whether you're putting somebody in that truck to get you through that time of you being in your downfall, that person still had to get a CDL to be able to operate the truck.
That's why I blame the government.
So if he got that CDL illegally, he only could have gotten it illegally from the government, so it still falls back on that. We're employing people, but we're not issuing them their licenses.
Yeah, that's 100%. You can't blame the driver. You have to blame the system.
Yeah, let me take back my show for a minute. First of all, thank you, Jonathan, for the comment. I appreciate that. I hope you take a moment and become a subscriber. I thank you for doing that. Do me a favor. Take a moment and describe what you just put on the screen there. I mean, that seems to be your way. You comment, run your mouth, and then you have to explain yourself. So, by all means.
Yeah. So So I think we need to have like a 3-stage CDL system.
Well, that's
implemented.
interesting.
Kind of like
Do explain. Do explain.
For example, you when you go into the electrical trade, you go through the school, then you become an apprentice,
An apprentice.
and you move on to a journeymanship before you can become a licensed electrician.
Yep.
Right.
I think we need to have that same standard because, as Sean was saying, a school is not a school. All they're going to teach you is the basics. And
Right. How would you
and then the
implement that,
mentor
though?
is going to start giving you that road time to break you in. So I think that the mentor that's breaking you in as a student driver needs to be certified. Needs to be a certified mentor.
How would you go about implementing that and actually making sure that was followed through? Because I mean, actually, you're kind of bringing me into the next phase of this part of the show, where I was going to say, in keeping with my bring solution side of every show that I do elaborate. How would you guarantee that would actually benefit not only the new drivers but those in need of help? Think about it.
Don't mess this up, Corey. Don't mess this up. I got you if you mess it up.
So when you go through the school, you learn the basics because that's all the school can teach you. Because as you were saying before, a school does not have an ideal location to teach you everything you need to know in trucking. In fact, nobody can teach you everything you need to know because you're constantly learning throughout your career. But by having, like, for an example, mega carriers sponsor schooling for a lot of new CDL entrants. And then
thank you. Appreciate
after
that.
You go into a truck with a mentor for your student driver process. And then after that, you transition to your own truck. And I think that's a good system if it became a standard, and we have a standardized way to make sure these mentors are properly trained to train new drivers, so that everybody could benefit from that.
Right.
Can I say something on that? Can I say something on that?
I think there needs to be a schooling for a school to be for a trainer, right? You should have, a couple years underneath your belt. Then you go through a school to relearn how to train, right? And here's the thing. I was a trainer, right? And I was an instructor and got their permit, right? And I noticed 1 to 5 years, believe it or not, are actually one of the better trainings. After 5 years, we start getting bad habits, right? We stop checking our oil. They stop thumping on the tires. They have bad habits that they're going to pass along the line. That's why the CR England took it like a little too close, and they're like, hey, we're going to give them 6 months, but because you're learning together. But 1 to 5 is about that time to where you're actually still learning, but you have enough knowledge to teach somebody else. Once you get past that, you're not looking in your mirrors every 8 seconds, and I guarantee you, right? So we play around every now and then, and we pull out the CDL book to get your CDL. And I would have guys that were like in the business for 10 to 15 years, 20 years, and we would pull the questions out of the book, and you'd be surprised how many people that were in after 5 years couldn't even answer the question of when do you take your low beams, or they couldn't really actually pass their CDL test. Again, to be honest with you, they'd get 7, 8 questions wrong.
Simple questions escape them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But 1 to 5, they could actually still answer the questions and actually nail them on right. So I mean, when you're doing the training, I think you're right on the 3-step. I've always said that. I think it should be like an A, B, and C, but I think it should go by years, right? So if you're in 1 to 5, you didn't have any accidents, then you get to go to the next license, right? And that would be, you can kind of run your logbook how you want to run it. You know what I mean? And then after you hit the next, dude, no whole barred, dude, it's all you. And if you mess up, you're the one you're doing the crime, you're doing the time. So I mean, I've always said there should be 3 steps for sure.
And see, and I think, and personally, here's what I think is really the problem right now. There isn't a 3-step system anymore, because I can tell you right now, like I said, I've been in it for 24 years, and when I went to when I got my CDL, I'm gonna tell you like this: I stayed in a classroom, just learning the writing or not the writing portion, but the reading portion of it, the air brakes, blah blah blah. I sat in a classroom for a month doing that part, and then I did another month just learning how to operate the truck. That was even before I even did the road test and was even allowed to go on the road and even
What state?
drive it.
What
Arizona.
state did you try? Okay.
Arizona.
Because in New York they had a
So-
75. Because back when I trained back in 2012, it was 75 hours theory and 75 hours range. That's how they split it up.
Hell yeah.
You guys-
Now you're at 160 or 180, right?
Yeah,
180
so,
hours.
So, and that's the point I'm making. It's like that's what is actually probably missing nowadays, because when you got these CDL mills, you got to understand,
Dude,
these guys are showing
whoa.
up.
Hold up, time out. Did you not catch one of my earlier lives where I said that's not enough? I'm talking about they need to make it 300 hours, dude. Because I'll tell you what, I got the 75 that I told you, and I didn't feel like I got enough.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, so I did what I did.
Yeah.
I spent a month doing one thing, a whole entire month. Like my shit ended up being like 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. I'm pretty sure that's over 300 hours. so you know.
Yeah.
But did you went to the company? You went to the company for that, or was that something the state required?
But the point I'm making is, even after I did all of that, 4 months, I still got on the road and still felt like, damn, dude, there was a little bit more I probably should have learned about this truck before I got out here. Now, you got to understand, these people who are now being put out here, these guys are showing up one day, giving them $500, fake testing, and they're just getting put in a truck.
Yeah, but I don't think I could teach. I don't think I could train. I don't think I could train anymore. 3-week class, out of the book from a permit, and driving and training in the field. I don't think I could teach anymore better. If you're not going to get it in that time, you're just not going to get it. It's a flunk or fail, right?
No.
Once I get them out of that, they go in with a mentor.
Wait. Time out. Am I hearing you, Sean, correctly by saying that you disagree with my 300 hour assessment?
Well, what I'm saying though is I think I could train somebody in less than 100 hours, and then the other 200 goes with somebody that actually is going to take him out on the real world. Show them when you back up into a dock, getting their paperwork, the whole 9 yards. I don't think you can really.
So then there's more to it than just learning the material. It's actually assessing whether or not the person's got what it takes.
Real life situation.
It's pass or fail. Literally, within. Literally. So I have 300 and something.
I'm loving having these lives because
I have over 300 people.
But did you hear?
I've been trying to say something for a minute.
But boss, did you hear how I explained my class? Did you hear how I explained? I said we did a month of the training course as far as the test assessment, all of that stuff. Then we did a whole entire month of maneuvering the truck. Then we did an entire another month of driving it out in the actual road. So now
here's what I think everybody's missing. Okay, and I've got
and then you went with a trainer afterwards.
Right. I've purposely kind of played the devil's advocate here and let you guys go, but this is where I think Thumper is about to launch out on me here. So indulge me a minute. Okay. It's one thing to insist that this state do this many hours and I even said we need, more hours, and I still stand behind that. We need as much training as we can give, we need. But here's the thing. If as an instructor or a inspector or someone who is actually going to sit there and write on a thing, pass or fail, we have to be able to ascertain within ourselves that the person we're putting in that position that we're saying passes or fails is capable of the job. It's abundantly obvious that a number, in the millions that have gotten the CDLs, they clearly don't know what they're doing. And I've said, and still in this show, I say, one road, one code. Well, that's not just a slogan. That is a standard. That is a statement. And that what we need to do is we need to make sure people know what they're doing. And I think that's what's. I mean, you could talk 300 hours or 150 hours. Be Sean's position or mine. It doesn't matter. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't need to have the fucking keys. Plain and simple. Thumper, go ahead.
Just pass or fail.
Yep.
Hey,
Really.
Thumper,
When I get a guy,
Thumper,
when I get a
hold on.
guy that
can I
comes
say
Thumper
in,
something
first.
real quick?
Hold on. Thumper first. Go ahead, Thumper.
Oh, I was just gonna finish what I was trying to tell you guys.
You can.
Okay, the one thing that made it a difference with me in my training that I think we also need to go back to.
Mhm.
I think it needs to be one trainer all the way around. He's the person who trains you is the person who assess you, so on and so forth. Because how is you just putting another person with that person going to fully be able to understand that student that they've been dealing with? So that's the one thing that helped me. I was with one person from day one all the way until the end. Period.
Right.
And so that way he was able to actually. I mean, this dude knew when I needed to take a shit. I mean, use the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, it may take a little bit more time, but obviously it produces more safer drivers, and that also goes for your one policy program, boss. One CDL, one standard. Well, guess what? One trainer as well.
Yeah. Thumper, I've got you up on 2 places, so you tell me.
All right, Thumper.
You want to say?
It's not the Avatar one. It's the other one. There you go.
Well, either way, say your piece, man, because I know you were dogging it a minute ago.
Hold on, I gotta reset. Just give me 2 minutes.
Go ahead. Damn technical difficulties. Go ahead.
I hit him with that one standard and reset his whole entire thing.
no, what I'm getting at is to teach somebody how to do a parallel, an offset, a straight line back, and how to unhook, how to properly maneuver around with a truck. It don't take long, literally. Within the first week of me and actually being out there, I can tell who's going to make it in the class. I can tell you who's going to struggle in the class. I'm going to tell you, this dude was born in a semi. His mother's mother obviously was a truck driver, and he's just been around it. He can just pick up the gauges and naturally see how a truck runs and can feel it. You can see people like that. I got 300 students.
Lives, Sean, we heard from somebody who was physically born in a semi truck.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah,
but
so
Sean,
I have 300 students. Hold on, I have 300 students.
One person at a time, please.
I got 300 students underneath my belt. 300 students underneath my belt. They're on Facebook. I use them. And you know how many's had an accident? I've had 2. You want to know what one was? The wind blew him over. He was hauling cattle pod, and I told him, I said, hey, you should never do that. I said that's pretty much unless you have the courage of saying, hey, I can handle this, you shouldn't do it. He had an accident, and I had one that came back from Somalia, came back, and he was out of the truck for 6 months because a family member died, and he was over there taking care of that. 6 months later, he got jumped back in a truck, and I told him, I said, look, go down a back road, don't go right out the gate, get familiar with yourself. And he came out and he took out a light pole. I have 300 students have had 2 accidents, and we still continue to this day communicate on Facebook. I also, in their first year, got a phone call from the state if one of them got into an accident, and I would have to tell them where they messed up. So I was held accountable. Now, I think if we look at training, can we hold more people accountable and say, hey, states, if you're going to allow somebody to be a mentor, now you're going to take a responsibility in that accident because you did not let that person go out qualified? Absolutely. I think there's some adjustments that we could do, but I still believe in you can only teach so much before you say, you know what, it's a pass or fail.
And that's what they would that's what they would do in my situation. There would be probably about 15 of us, and then out of us 15, whoever was doing the best, that's the person, you know, our mentor picked who his best drivers were in class, blah blah blah, and that's who he would vouch for. But here's my thing. Yes, you did do that. That's very good, man. I mean, 300 people at one point, at one time, that's good. But see, even though that personal situation ended up being a success, I still don't equate that to the norm. That's an anomaly in my
Yeah.
eyes, because when you got when you got billions of people on this world and you only got a class of 300 that only had two accidents out of that class of 300 by being taught that, because you got to look at it like this. Tom Brady would never have become the quarterback he became if he was jumping from coach to coach to coach. No, he became the quarterback he became because he was being coached by that hard ass Bill Belichick that whole entire
Yep.
time. That one
Yep.
coach that never
Yep.
complimented him in practice. So I think one on
Exactly.
one, especially when lives depend on it, it may take a little bit
Yep.
longer. It may take a little bit longer. You may make a little bit less money because you're not pumping out as many students as you want. But you know
Yep.
what? When people's families and lives depend on it, it's okay to
Yep.
take that a little bit of time and get a smaller class and do one on one.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
If you've been with my show long enough, you know what I'm about to do. So I'm just going to simply say this. I'm going to give two people the floor, give them last moments, and I'm going to say it this way. With this conversation tonight, what it really comes down to is trust. All right. If a CDL works nationwide, then the training, the vetting, and the qualification behind it ought to mean the same thing in all 50 states. That doesn't mean that more government is automatically better. But what it does mean is that the system should be consistent and it should be verifiable and worthy of the responsibility that we place in every single person that gets that plastic card and does the job. Now, that being said, you just turned your camera off, sucker. I was going to go to you. Semi, give me your parting thoughts. You got to unmute yourself, brother. Always a technical difficulty. Here, let me see.
Yes,
Maybe that was my fault.
I
There you go.
agree with a lot of what was said today. I mean, we do need more training. We need to have a stronger standard, whether it be the government imposing it or us in the industry imposing it. But we need to have a stronger standard for training, and and just a stronger commitment to the industry. And
Yep.
we need to concentrate more on showing the best of the best in this industry.
It's simple. I mean, the better we treat the people coming in, the better the people treat, the better the people coming in will treat those behind. So I fully agree with that. Good way to leave that. I certainly thank you. And Saw Miracle, what say you on this?
First off, I just want to say I appreciate all of you brothers' services. We're all professionals here, whether you've been in it for a year, 4 years, 2 years, 20 years, myself, 24 years,
Yep.
24 years, because I was doing some under the table stuff. Just like I think it was Dumper who said he was.
Yep.
I think we need to start. We need. I think the government, for one, and the industry needs to start not only treating us, but holding this industry of drivers as what they call us, professional. There's a reason why we're called professionals, and we
Yeah.
have that commercial driver's license.
Yep.
That commercial driver's license is to, I mean, because there's been multiple times where I have led people through storms, which I'm pretty sure you guys have, so on and so forth. You got a convoy of cars behind you. That's what we're
Yeah.
held of. We're not only just drivers. We're also helpers at times. We're also lifesavers at times.
It can be
And I
anything and
think and I
everything
think
all at once. Yep.
and I truly think that the industry needs to start recognizing us American drivers as what
Yep.
we are, which is professionals.
Professionals in every sense of the
Period.
word.
We
Amen
need
to
to
that.
be recognized as professionals. They need to stop treating this as an industry, because you got to understand, if you work in customer service and you mess up, you might get a paper cut, you might delete somebody's account, you might mess up with somebody's financial money. But you know what? If we mess up, we kill tons of people.
Hey, that says it right there. If we mess
We kill.
up, it costs a life. Exactly.
Exactly. So
yes.
if you got 20 years in this game, 4 years in this game, and you have not had an accident, you ain't killed nobody.
Yep.
That's because you are a professional. These people can barely
Wise
control
words.
their four-wheelers.
I
Wise
ain't no
words.
professional.
So
Yeah.
I got major
you'll
love.
get your bark in a minute there, Dumper. Just hold your shit.
I got major love for everybody. Appreciate this conversation 100%. I think we all agree on one thing. We all want these roads to be safer with us, and we want to be involved with less accidents on the road.
Well, Sam, I appreciate you being part of tonight's show. I it's not every day I have a new face up here, but good word said. Sean, what do you think? I mean, when it comes to professionalism and doing the right thing, one standard, what say you? Sean, hello.
There we go.
I guess.
I said you should. Are you sure you want to answer that question? I think what we really need in this industry is self-regulation, right? We know the problem is people that are creating the standards, creating the rules, are government officials that's never even sat behind the seat, right? So how do we tell somebody, hey, we didn't train you right? How do we look at somebody and say, hey, you weren't taught right? When the people that's making the regulations have never even been trained, but yet they're the ones that's setting the standards forth. And 100%, I agree. Standards is what we should be setting as an individual, right? We can't hold the foreigners, as some people call them, or the illegals accountable when a system that was broken. And now we do this every single time, right? Every time the government messes up, every time they break something, oh, they're the victim. They're the victim. Oh my gosh, we didn't even see this, right? They're the ones that created it. And until we understand that they're not victimized anymore, that this is our industry, we protect it, we make the rules, we're going to set standards, we're just falling into the game that they're playing. So I think, honestly, if we start doing more research, we open up the books, we find out what's going on with training, right? Like I said, the training on the level of school part, that's all set one standard. But where we're lacking is mentor programs. We're lacking the standards of saying, hey, you got to have 1 to 5 years before you can train, not 6 months, not 3 months. But we set these standards. We go to the FMCSA and we say, hey, we want to be self-regulated. That's the answer to your question. But however, can we get that done? I don't see it.
Tell us about We the Truckers.
Yeah, so you can find me on We the Truckers. You can find Vince. You can find a lot of great advocates on there. Boss Man's on there as well. You know, this webpage is designed for you to get the information that you need to talk to your congressman and send these letters out saying, hey, we've had enough. Well, we're against autonomous. You know, if the industry is going to bring autonomous in, we want them coming in safe, right? Just like we allowed foreigners to come into this industry and we were blinking an eye, we're going to do the same thing to a non-driving piece of technology. So if you're against foreigners, you should be 10 times fold against autonomous. If not, then all you're doing is just kind of circling the wheel. So my thing is the people that are in this industry, we got to respect them and we got to teach them ourselves. We got to hold ourselves accountable. They allowed it. You're not letting them victimize. So, and you can find this information on We the Truckers. You can find every single congressman that is in your district on the transportation committees and send letters and saying, hey, you know what? We've had enough. We're going to start holding ourselves accountable and self-regulating down here on the bottom end. You know, you can go on there. You can tag yourself on Truck Stop. It's a great part of the website now that you can tag wherever you're at, close to the truck stop that you're at. So it's a good way to communicate. It's a good way to find the fellow driver that best aligns with you and communicate with them.
Which I will be walking everybody through this week. Thumper, bring us home, man.
Well, I really didn't get to say a whole lot that I wanted to say.
I'll give you
it's great discussion, don't get me wrong. But first things first is one of the things I wanted to say was I never took a CDL school.
Yep.
I lucked out and I got in before they made it mandatory, and I'm self-learned and everything else, but I grew up around these trucks, so and the thing is, like, professional, yes, that's a great word, but in my eyes, I will never ever be a professional in this industry, because I will never perfect, I will never know everything about this industry, and to me, a professional knows everything, and that's one thing. I am a commercial driver. So that's kind of what I wanted to say, to touch on those stuff right there. You know, the schooling and stuff, is the schooling good? It can be if it's done right. Is it bad? You know, do we need it? You know, it's really on a person-to-person basis. Some people pick it up faster than other people. So, you know, it's hard to put an actual number on hours for the schooling and stuff like that. In my eyes, it really is hard. And on that note, I'm just going to keep it nice, short, and sweet. We had an awesome show. Thanks for everybody who showed up. Viewers, commenters, the panel, great discussion. And
those in backstage, stay around, because we're not done yet. Keep going, Thumper.
And not only that, you know, hey, thank a trucker. God bless all of us, you know, truck drivers, EMTs, firefighter, military personnel. Start showing them some love. You know, there are people out there who are defending for your freedom, and surprisingly or not, us truck drivers are defending your guys' freedom. It's our way to serve the country. So make sure you thank them, because if we don't haul it, you don't have it.
There you go.
And like, hey, you know what? Like Bo and I always say, you know, we don't.
I'm only gonna reset one more time, buddy.
We don't do this just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
There you go. And don't forget, look for us on Frontline Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Till then, keep asking better questions, and by all means, keep her rolling.